All right, let's talk data. You've got all this raw, messy information, right? How do you turn it into something useful, something that gives you real insights? Well, there are basically two main ways to do it, ETL and ELT. Today, we're breaking them both down. Let's dive in. Seriously, this is the big question. How do you get from a mountain of raw data to a real powerful insight? This is the problem that keeps data engineers up at night, and it powers everything from your basic business dashboard all the way to complex AI. And the secret sauce? Well, it all comes down to how we get that data ready for the show.
So let's meet our two main characters. On one side, you've got ETL, extract, transform, load. This is the OG, the classic approach. On the other side, we have ELT, extract, load, transform. This is the modern challenger, shaking things up. And look closely. The only difference is the order of the T and the L. But trust me, that one little swap, it changes everything.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the classic, ETL. You kind of have to know where we've been to understand where we're going. And for a long, long time, ETL was the absolute bedrock of the data world.
It's pretty much what it says on the tin. First, you extract the data from all your different sources. Then, and this is the key part, you transform it. You clean it up, you get it all structured, maybe do some calculations, but you do all of this on a separate, intermediate server. It's like a prep kitchen. And only when it's perfect do you load it into your nice, clean data warehouse.
And this flow is super important. That second step, the transform step, it acts like a bouncer at a club. Your data has to be on the list, it has to be dressed right, properly formatted, before it gets into the VIP room, which is your data warehouse. This whole process is designed to make sure only clean, high-quality, consistent data makes it in.
So where do you see this in the wild? Well, ETL is still the king in certain places. We're talking about legacy systems, big on-premise data warehouses, and especially in industries with super strict rules, like finance or healthcare, where you can't mess around with data privacy. And the tools? Oh yeah, these are the heavy hitters, the household names of enterprise data, Informatica, Talent, the big guns.
But then, everything changed. The cloud happened. Data didn't just grow, it exploded. And suddenly, that old way of doing things started to creak under the pressure. The world needed something new, something faster, something more flexible. And that's where our modern challenger, ELT, steps into the ring.
Yeah, ELT completely flips the script. You still extract the data from your sources, but then, and this is the game changer, you load it immediately. All of it, the raw, messy, unstructured stuff, you just dump it straight into your cloud data warehouse or data lake. The transform part, that happens last, right inside the warehouse itself, using its massive computing power to sort things out.
Think about the difference here. There's no separate prep kitchen. It's like having all your raw ingredients delivered straight to a gigantic, super-powered kitchen where you can cook anything you want, whenever you want. You just load everything into a beast of a system like Snowflake or BigQuery, and then you work your magic on the data right there. This is only possible because modern cloud platforms have just an insane amount of power.
So, no surprise, ELT is the native language of the cloud. It's built for the age of big data. It just eats up unstructured data for breakfast and is perfect for feeding those real-time dashboards and hungry AI models that everyone is building. The tools here are the new kids on the block who've become superstars. We're talking dbt, Databricks, the modern data stack.
All right, we've met the classic and the challenger. So let's put them in the ring, head to head.
What's the real difference here? Because it's more than just swapping two letters. It affects speed, flexibility, pretty much everything.
This table lays it all out perfectly. Look at the processing location. ETL is external, ELT is internal, right in the warehouse. Load timing? ETL loads after it cleans the data. ELT loads the raw stuff before. ETL is at its best with nice, neat, structured data. ELT? It loves raw, messy, big data. And that leads right to speed and flexibility. ELT is just way faster and more adaptable because of its design. It's a totally different philosophy. Okay, so this is the million-dollar question, right? Which one is actually best? And you probably guessed it, the answer is, well, it really depends on the job. So let's say you're dealing with just a massive amount of data. Website clicks, social media chatter, IoT sensor data, just a flood of unstructured information. What do?
This is where ELT shines. It is absolutely built for this world. You just couldn't handle that volume and variety with a traditional ETL setup. ELT leverages that cloud scalability to just get it done.
Okay, but let's flip that. What if you're working in a super regulated industry? Think banking or healthcare. You have really strict compliance rules. You can't just load raw data that might have sensitive information into your main system. No way.
In that case, ETL is your proven, trusted friend. That transform before load step is your secret weapon for security. It lets you clean, validate, and anonymize data before it ever gets loaded, ensuring you stay compliant. It's the safe, reliable choice.
And you can see this play out across different industries. Banking and healthcare, they stick with ETL because data validation and privacy are non-negotiable. But look at e-commerce or gaming. They need to analyze player and shopper behavior right now to make better recommendations. For them, the speed and agility of ELT is a total game changer.
So what does the future hold? Where are we headed with all this? Let's zoom out and look at the big picture. So let's boil it all down one last time. ETL. It's proven, it's structured, it's your go-to for legacy systems and high-compliance situations. ELT, it's modern, it's scalable, it was literally built for the cloud, for big data, and for AI. They're not really enemies, they're just different tools for very different jobs.
So, what's the final verdict? Well, the trend is undeniable. The future is absolutely LT first. As the world moves to the cloud and AI becomes a bigger deal, LT's architecture just makes more sense. But, and this is a big but, ETL isn't going away. Not by a long shot. It's still going to be the essential tool for those really specific, secure, and regulated jobs. And that really brings us to the final question, the one you need to think about. The future is all about flexible, scalable data. It has to be. So the real question is your strategy ready for it? Thanks so much for tuning in.